Once again, welcome to another episode of the Stick Niner Empire podcast. I am here with your two amazing hosts, Lucas Ortiz, which, if many of you do not know, was a former high school and a college football player. And we also have Luke McLaughlin, very talented voiceover talent, for those of you that do not know. So, guys, let's get right to it. This was a very sad loss. We did not get the game that we deserved. I feel like the NFC Championship probably was the Super Bowl. We were moving the ball, whether you like it or not. If Brock Purdy would have played, this would have been a 4 to 7 point game, maybe much less. But I think we were kind of doomed from the moment he got hurt. Because let's face it, Josh Johnson didn't have any business leading this team. He's a good backup, but he's not a backup for this game. It would have been great to have Jimmy Garoppolo out there as a backup. I wish we could have had Trey Lance, anyone. But not, I mean, Josh Johnson just looked lost on multiple plays. Starting with you, McLaughlin, what do you think?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we'll never get to see 2023's championship game between the Niners and Philadelphia Eagles because it never really happened. It's really sad to think about the way that transpired, especially if you're superstitious like I am, because the whole time I was thinking, I remember telling you guys a couple weeks ago, I'm worried about the streak, right? Number 13 gets hurt on his 13th attempt at a win. And it's just unfortunate because he'd had such a great run, such a great story, and he'll be back. But now we have a lot of things to discuss here because we've got Trey Lance, who's going to be cleared. Lucas sent that text saying that he's going to be cleared soon. And then what do we do, guys? So there's going to be a lot of discussion here, so we'll get into it. But yeah, it's unfortunate that we never got to really see that game because especially, I'm a little bummed that Kyle didn't just put Juszczyk in at quarterback or McCaffrey or somebody who could actually throw the ball. I'd rather see some interceptions than a team that can't throw the ball at all. It's too obvious, especially against a defense like the Eagles. And we were doomed at that point. It was just we threw in the towel. And I think I would have rather have seen just a little more creativity out of Kyle Shanahan and the coordination of that offense just went, oh, well, we can't play, so we'll just put Purdy back in and he can't do anything. So I don't understand why he was even out there, honestly. He shouldn't have been. He was hurt. You got to get somebody else. Juszczyk was next in line. He has an arm still. He probably could have they just draw it up like you're playing backyard football. Just you go X's and O's and, you go that way and I'll make a slant. It's just, I think it's really unfortunate that we just threw in the towel and said, well, yeah, you see what McCaffrey can do with everybody stacking the box every single play.
Ortiz, what do you think? Do you think we should have gone to more like a wildcat offense with maybe throwing with McCaffrey, giving Juszczyk some shots himself? Do you think we should have gone that route? I understand the apprehensiveness from Kyle Shanahan's part in the sense that, okay, what we're going to do, just go deep. But I got to kind of agree with McLaughlin on this one. The fact that Brock Purdy could not throw 5-10 yards. I mean, you saw he threw a 5-yard pass and it hurt him. He had no zip on the ball, Ortiz. The fact
that game was too important to just throw in the towel when there was so much time left. Okay, go ahead.
I would have been happy, like you said, Luke, just taking our shots somewhere else. Ortiz, I feel like we made their defense look even better than what they are. Would you agree?
So as soon as, to a certain extent, I feel like when Purdy hurt his elbow, I knew it was serious. I didn't think he was going to be able to throw the way that they were attending to him on the sideline. That was the game. That was game, set, match. Unfortunately, it took game 20 of the season, 17 regular, 3 games in the playoffs for the 49ers to eventually run out of healthy quarterbacks. And we did. I mean, that's what happened. Plain and simple. Doesn't matter if McCaffrey goes in there, runs some wildcat, Juszczyk goes in there, does this thing. We didn't have a functional quarterback or full arsenal of running and passing plays to throw at the Eagles in order to win that game. We kind of, delayed the inevitable. The defense was able to play their ass off, keep them to a low production. Like they didn't have that much production on offense. They just scored 31 points. Some of that came off turnovers once Josh Johnson came in, and like I said, it just kind of delayed the inevitable. I think once Purdy wasn't able to throw more than a 2-yard screen pass, that was game, set, match. And it's unfortunate because it kind of robbed us of the championship game that we wanted, a potential Super Bowl matchup against the Chiefs. And in my opinion, with a team like ours, which I think is the most talented team in the NFL, player for player, and the depth that we had all over the offense, the defense, even special teams was really coming on this season. I think we would have won the Super Bowl, and it's just, it's sad. I'm here for it. We're going to have to learn and grow from it. And next year, I think the team is going to eventually reach that mountaintop and make the Super Bowl and win it. So
now, we did have that glimmer of hope when Josh Johnson led us to that scoring drive with McCaffrey. Can't say enough about McCaffrey, man. I mean, he's the MVP. I mean, that's
worth every penny.
That was so awesome.
It was an amazing.
The Eagles were a little bit scared, like, wait a second, they can still do that? And he was awesome on that drive.
Yeah, and people say that the Eagles were dominating on the offensive defensive line, that they were having their way in the first half. And we've seen that. Like, the Cowboys had a really good first half. But what our team had shown time and time again, especially during that 12-game run, is that we can make adjustments at halftime. We can come out and eventually open up holes, get the ground game going, figure out what they're trying to do with their pass rush, how they're playing us, and how they're skiing against what we've thrown out there in the first half, and over the course of the game, start to get a lot of plays. Because of the injury to Purdy and Josh Johnson, we couldn't throw a forward pass. That's it. It was going to be run, and that's it.
The game was over.
Maybe a screen.
The game was over.
It didn't matter what play we could, because we could not throw a forward pass beyond, the line of scrimmage. So once that happened, Josh Johnson was going to come back because of the concussion. We only had one quarterback who could basically call plays and hand the ball off, and it just wasn't going to be enough. So, hats off to the defense. I thought they played well, because I think they were actually controlled rushing and almost forming a pocket.
We
so they had nowhere to
them. Go. We control both of them. The running back didn't get over 50, 60 yards, and Jalen Hurts didn't run for over 50. So we controlled them, and we kept them down to 121 yards.
The game plan, if we had an offense that could score points, with a healthy quarterback, the game plan on the defensive side was perfect. They knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't trying to speed rush and get past the tackle. They were actually rushing to Jalen Hurts' depth and stopping, and basically just saying, all right, find somebody that's open. And a lot of times, the coverage by Charvarius Ward, Jimmy Ward, and Diamador Lenore, there wasn't a lot there. That big play on the fourth down on the first drive that ultimately led to that first touchdown, it wasn't even a completion. Why did Kyle not read that the receiver did not make the completion? He came up and he even waited to see what the call was. If he was so sure that he caught the ball, he would just got up and ran to the line of scrimmage. But instead, he looked at the receiver, or he looked at the refs. He waited for the call.
Yeah.
Which a receiver in football, I've watched a lot of football throughout my life. A receiver doesn't do that. It doesn't exist. He doesn't make that call. It's always the quarterback or the coach, and it's never a receiver. So that tells you right away he didn't think he made the catch. Kyle should have seen that. Somebody on the sidelines should have seen that, and he should immediately challenge, or at the very least, waste a timeout, which in the first half is not a big deal. You can throw away timeouts in the first half and see if a replay comes out that shows the definitive angle that he didn't catch the ball. So one thing leads to another. Something happens, you changes the course of history in the future, or the butterfly effect. If that didn't happen, does Purdy get hurt? That doesn't happen. Do we win the game? We can go down that rabbit hole, but I just felt like it was a pivotal play that Kyle should have, at the very least, called a timeout and seen. He said in the interview that he didn't see a definitive replay at the time.
He should have thrown it no matter what. It was too big of a play. You're right.
Yeah, for the 49ers.
Now, that would have been an even bigger mistake if we had a healthy Brock Purdy, obviously, and we ended up losing, which we might not have.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I guess.
Would have gotten the ball back, which, again, like Ortiz implied, if we get the ball back there, and someone in New York looking at this video, because again, they didn't show the video at the stadium, so Kyle couldn't have known. But I agree with the both of you. Take a chance. You have a timeout that they didn't use. You know what I mean? It would have been there for the taking. You should have challenged it just by the way the receiver was acting, running up, going like this, like a lunatic. I mean, I was yelling it from my home.
I wanted it to be like a Rocky movie, but it was only like the beginning of the Rocky movie when he loses.
Yeah. You know, what is Kyle doing drawing up a play where your backup tight end is blocking the best pass rusher, only second to Nick Bosa in the league on the Eagles, in Hassan Reddick? One-on-one, it's just an unfair match. Like, there's just, on a play that takes a long time, I think it was a play action fake, and somebody was open deep. I think Ayuk was open on the play.
You're talking about the elbow play?
The elbow play, where he got hurt.
Cost us the game. Yeah.
Maybe it was Purdy's responsibility to check out of it once he saw where Reddick was lined up and where the protection was going to be going towards. Maybe it was Purdy's fault. I mean, who knows? I mean, you can say it's partially his fault for not getting rid of the ball sooner.
Yeah.
And not seeing the rush when it was right in front of him. It wasn't a blindside hit.
Just tuck it and take the sack.
Fail on Kyle's end, fail on Purdy's end. And ultimately, it's just it was too much to overcome.
Did anyone besides me notice number 69 riding our defensive player, just grabbing him by the jersey on the back from his lower back here, middle of his back, lower back?
I just can't make it. The boss is really riding me.
The run-in touchdown, was it Sanders? He just rode him in, riding him the whole way. Like, how do you not see that? It was so obvious.
Oh, the victory run, the victory play, the way they.
Yeah. So what's pretty evident if you watch offensive line play, they hold on almost every play, and a lot of it is
running
just
with the guy. How do you not see this?
It's grabbing inside. Sometimes it's grabbing the shoulder. It takes a lot.
In this case, it was outside. This case,
right, and guys get away with it all the time.
And there's a big gap there, so like anybody can see it. Like it was in the middle of my screen.
I mean, I've seen Trent Williams get away with it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's 14 points that maybe could have gotten away with, that they would need. But again, I can't blame it on that.
It happens on a lot of play, and sometimes it gets called, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it gets called, and it's not even all that bad. It doesn't matter if they were 20 points down or 7 points down. They were going to play hard on every single play. You know, Dre Greenlaw was penalized for trying to punch the ball out like several times.
Stupid.
And it was like one or two.
Should have been able to do that. It's illegal.
Right. We didn't just let them, roll all over us, and we were playing hard to the whistle on every single play all the way into the end of the game. And they didn't like that. They were just trying to cruise to an easy victory. So, it got chippy out there. Guys were holding each other's face masks. One guy was holding Debo's mask and wouldn't let go. Trent Williams was trying to get him off of him. The guy wouldn't let go. So he said, I'm just going to choke slam this guy. Let the flag come out. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I thought Greg Olsen had a funny line watching the game. He's like, Trent Williams just, he had enough. He was out. He was ready to go. So Definitely. What are you going to do?
I actually put the radio broadcast and then lined it up with iHeartRadio, which you can do. I didn't know you could do that, which was pretty awesome just to hear. I like that the announcers on the radio are on the Niners side, and it was pretty cool just to be able to do that. But so I didn't hear the actual.
What did they say about the melee between Trent Williams and some of the other players?
They said it went a little overboard because they make a lot of money and they probably should be a little more humble as far as they, losing their cool and getting thrown out of the game. You're not really helping your team, but they did exactly what we all felt like doing. I wanted to see one of them get thrown down at that point.
I was enjoying it, even though it's unsportsmanlike, honestly. Yeah. I was actually, I mean, the way he ripped them by the like, he's so powerful, Trent Williams is. He grabbed his match and pulled them down like a toy,
I was going to ask you guys, so we know who's in the Super Bowl. Are we watching the game, or are we doing something else? Are you going to, mow the lawn, clean out the closet? Like, what's our plans for the Super Bowl?
I'm rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because I hate Patrick Mahomes.
I think Gumby's incredible, so I'll go for Gumby, and I think they're the underdogs. They're expected to lose.
Yeah, I cannot stand KC.
I think I still would rather them win than the Eagles.
But what if Philly becomes a rival for the next few years, which I can see being a reality, because there's not many teams that play physical like us, but they do.
But see, KC destroyed the Niners. Philly just beat us
Oh, you're
because we
talking about
weren't
earlier this season.
ourselves. But I still want to see Philly just win it all now because
You want to see them win in vain. I get that. But I'll be honest with you, man. This Niner team is not the same team that played KC early in the season. I expected Cincinnati to make it. I think we all kind of did. I think the Niners would have beaten Cincinnati in the Super Bowl, honestly. So I'm even more distraught because of that.
I think Andy Reid bought some houses for the refs in the Hamptons. I don't like Kansas City, and I think they cheat. So I'm rooting for Philly. That's why I'm wearing green.
Maybe lock up this kid with, some handcuffs at the hotel so he can't leave after the game,
This is not a crazy injury that's going to take a year to come back from. It's a 6-month injury. He's going to be throwing in training camp.
I think he'll be ready in 6 months, but it'll take him another 4 months just to be strong again. You don't think so?
Exactly. Yeah. By then, Trey Lance will win that job.
Torn ligaments do.
By then,
I don't know if you guys heard this, but obviously this type of injury, the tearing of the UCL, which is in the elbow, it used to always require Tommy John surgery, which was about a 12 to 18th month, recovery time, especially
like for baseball players,
for pitchers.
Pitch, right?
Exactly. So recently they started doing a new surgery, which is more of a brace, and it's only a 6-month recovery. And the last player to do it in the NFL, or maybe the only player to have this surgery done, was Nick Mullins.
Oh, wow.
Former quarterback for the 49ers.
And how did he come back? Because he hasn't looked as good as when he was in San Fran.
Well, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him throw. He's last I checked, he was with the Lions.
They had to take a few inches out of his height so they could put it in his elbow, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the key thing is though he actually made it. He made it back to the NFL and he's able to throw the football. So
it's still questionable if it's a new surgery, though.
Well, Brock Purdy
surgery. You're right.
He had a sensational year, and I hope that he comes back, and I hope he's there next year, and I hope that they give him a big contract eventually, and that he ends up being the starter.
It's going to be a crazy offseason, and unfortunately, we don't really do weekly shows in the offseason, but we're going to hear about every quarterback that's available, every trade scenario, every player that's a Brock Purdy comp in the draft is going to be linked to our team. We actually have Mr. Irrelevant this year too. I don't know if you guys know that, but we're going to be picking the last pick in the draft for a second straight draft in a row. So, why not take a flyer on some undersized quarterback with a not a strong arm?
Hey, it'll be funny next year.
He's played a lot of college football. Yeah.
Ortiz, be hysterical next year. People trade up for Mr. Irrelevant. Like, hey, I'll trade you next year's draft for number 252, baby. Let me see what I can get out. Get it out. That'd be hysterical in a first time thing ever. Here, lots of awards, lots of things to be excited about. Let's talk about how we could improve the team next year. I got a couple players in mind. I want to go around the horn with each of you, starting with you, McLaughlin. You tell me what you think. Do we re-sign our right tackle after this year? I think it's tough because of the money factor. But again, you're going to have to draft. And I think we're going to draft the right guard eventually anyway.
I say yes. I don't think that the problems with the 49ers were surrounding the offensive line at all, really. If you can keep some of these guys, they're going to be better than they were this year. They're working together, and they're a good group. I think that you re-sign them, and I think that they'll be stronger next year.
Okay. Ortiz, your opinion?
Great offensive tackles are very rare to come by. We have one on our team, and we have a very decent right tackle in Mike McGlinchey. He's an excellent run blocker. He's an excellent team leader. He's an ambassador for football. He's a tremendous human being. Everybody loves him, and he brings a lot to the table. He's just not a great pass blocker. That's kind of one of his deficiencies, but I saw improvement. He didn't have any bad pass blocks against the Eagles. The 2 sacks, one was against the tight end, and I think another was a coverage sack. Or I think it was a blown coverage or a blown pass blocking coverage. Josh Johnson got sacked on before he could even, look up and see if anybody was open. He wasn't the issue. I think we can get a little bit better in the secondary.
Definitely.
I love Diamado Lenore, but I do think if we can re-sign Emmanuel Mosley, he would be a slight upgrade at the outside corner position, which would allow Diamador a little more natural position in nickel cornerback. Because I do think we are going to lose Jimmy Ward. He's pretty much intimated that he's not going to be with the team next year. He started,
thing.
yeah. He started
He does
referring
want
to
to
the
play
team.
on the Niners. That's my next player, that Jimmy Ward. He's made it clear as of this morning he does want to stay in San
And it
Francisco.
could be
But again, it's a
posturing.
money
It could
issue.
be, yeah, it could be, his way of negotiating through the media, saying that, the 49ers, they're going to have a good team. They'll be all right. They'll be back in the Super Bowl, or they'll, be back in the NFC Championship game. But he almost makes it sound like he's already moved on and he's not coming back, unless he comes back as the free safety and, at a price that he thinks he's worth.
He's a great player. He's a really good player.
Yeah, he started the season hurt.
We couldn't have done it without Jimmy Ward.
Do you risk putting in Jimmy Ward at safety and losing Gibson? Because Gibson did incredible this year too.
He was awesome.
I think so. So you agree with me? You keep Jimmy Ward in the slot.
Unless Jimmy's gone, then you replace him. But I think that you got to keep Gibson.
I think so too, and I would give Jimmy a 2-year contract.
I think free safety is
fairly good.
On our team, it's actually an easier position to play than the nickel cornerback. I think when you're the nickel cornerback, a lot of times you're lining up against the best receiver on the other team. It could be Cooper Kupp one week. It could be DK Metcalf, which we see twice a year, right? Both guys. AJ Brown, he lined up against Jimmy Ward, and Jimmy limited him to very little in this last game. So I think it's a pivotal position. I think it's one that he's mastered this year. When the 49ers originally drafted Jimmy Ward, they drafted him as a cornerback, and I think they envisioned him as being the nickel cornerback. But for whatever reason, injuries happen, and he had to be put at the outside cornerback position. He didn't really perform well on the outside, and eventually they made him a free safety, and he excelled at that position. But I think this is an even better fit for his skill and his talents and his smarts, because you can put him on the line of scrimmage. He can blitz. He can cover guys one-on-one. He's smart. He had a great,
aggressive.
Amazing.
We had the number one defense, you guys. I think when it comes down to it, we need to keep the group together if we can. I mean, even if we could re-sign Jimmy Ward, that'd be awesome. He had a great season. What do you guys think about the linebacking core? I mean, is there any linebackers that you would maybe?
Everyone stays. Yeah, too much depth there.
Even
I love it.
Our 4-string linebackers are pretty solid. Fred Warner got hurt a little bit in the beginning of the game. He went out. Flanagan Foles came in, and I think he made a tackle on one of the plays. So, we have depth there. I think everybody's signed through at least next year. I think maybe Dre Greenlaw. I can't remember. Did he get re-signed, or is he up for free agency?
He got re-signed earlier this year.
Yeah, they're all coming back. There's gonna be a lot of stability. All pro Fred Warner. After Nick Bosa, they say he is the best player on the team and the best linebacker in the league, and that's coming from guys like Greg Cassell from NFL Films. It's coming from guys like Peter King, Brian Baldinger. They all say he is the best cover linebacker. He is the best linebacker, period, in the NFL.
We heard that Mitchell wasn't going to play. That was devastating because he's such a big piece of that offense. So he gets hurt way too often. What do you guys think about the running back situation? Mason was awesome. Obviously, McCaffrey's solid. He's going to be there for a few years now, right?
Yeah, well, we got some young talent there. I think Mason and Ty Davis Price are going to be a little bit better next year. They're probably going to know the offense a little bit more and be asked to play a little bit.
You think they're starting to get down on Mitchell because he gets hurt too much, or what?
It's tough to say. When he's in there, he is
so good.
Tremendous running back. He looks a little more explosive than Christian, and knowing now that Christian had a little calf injury towards the end of the season and probably even slowed him up from his true potential. I think Elijah Mitchell, when he's healthy, was
awesome. But the last 2 years, he's been hurt 65% of the time, right?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Problem. And he even what's crazy is he even got stronger. He was even more. He put on some muscle. He looked a little bit bigger. Looked a little more explosive. And for whatever reason, he just got bit by the injury bug.
Yeah. Guys, quick question. Aside from some of the players we mentioned, another position, because again, we're not going to beat the Eagles next year if we do play them, unless we get better in the trenches, whether it's offensive line or defensive line. So I'm trying to find some spots here where we can improve. If we don't improve on right guard, I sure hell think we have to improve at center then, regardless of awards or anything, because we have to bring a better package. They did have, of course, they were able to pin their ears back and attack and put 6 men, 6 men on the line, 8 men in the box, but we have to improve somewhere. So I think if we don't lose our right guard, then I think we put someone else at center. We have to improve on the O-line. Would you agree? I don't think you're improving I think Banks would be great.
You improve by experience. So we have
keeping the group together.
Jake Brendel, who is starting for the first time in his career. He's very young. I think he's in his mid-20s.
Banks.
Spencer Burford was a rookie. Started all year, played well.
Yeah, he played very well.
A rookie. And Aaron Banks was in his second year, but first as a starter, and he played great. How offensive linemen get better is playing with each other over time, experience, getting stronger in the offseason.
Do we draft another O-lineman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can always draft.
You always got to put O-linemen behind them that are going to learn.
Yeah, depth is key.
I say we get some really big guys.
Guys, I would be shocked, and this is just from what I've seen, I would be shocked if the offensive line that we had this year doesn't come back and starts exactly the same next year. With the exception of possibly McGlinchey, only because he's in a contract year. He got better.
The one thing I like about McGlinchey is that he owns his mistakes. I mean, it doesn't mean that that makes him better, but I like that he does own his mistakes. When he has a bad game, he'll tell you, "I played like shit."
Yeah, and I appreciate that. But I actually think we need more improvement on the interior defensive line. Other than Eric Armstead, interior defensive line was getting pushed around. Kinlaw was getting pushed around. He was supposed to hold. The Miles Sanders touchdown in the first quarter, that was his gap. He got blown up. He was literally bucked 5 yards to the side and just opened up a gigantic hole, which Miles Sanders wasn't even touched when he went through. So I think we can get better there. He is a bust.
Guys, who are we drafting early? I'm going to say it's Kinlaw's replacement.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't have a pick until the third round.
Best
early for us.
Best player available. If there's a really good corner, it would be nice to have another good corner. I mean,
we do need another good corner.
Replace Jimmy Ward if we need to.
I think interior D-line corner.
What I don't want to draft is a running back until at least the 6th round.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Kyle.
We can agree on that. Yeah.
Maybe
we can agree on that.
Maybe a 6'4" receiver, or even a shifty slot receiver with 4.4, 4.3 speed, something like that. Some guy like a Julian Edelman or a Cooper Kupp.
We draft more offensive linemen. Really, you need another Kevin Gogan. Some big guy out there. That's
we drafted a starting right tackle who was pretty solid all year. In what was it, the 3rd or 4th round? 5th round is usually the money round for us. I mean, we got guys like Kittle, Dre Greenlaw.
4th through 6th nowadays. 4th through 7th.
Yeah. 5th
Jennings in the 7th. Yeah, we've been great in the latter rounds.
Right.
Definitely.
Good at drafting talented people. I mean, what round was Purdy?
Last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant.
I think we have 10 picks, believe it or not, next year all of a sudden because of everyone we're losing.
Yeah, all the comp picks. And this just came off the wire. DeMeco Ryans will be the head coach of the Houston Texans next year. So,
oh man, I was hoping they would fire Kyle and just make him the coach.
Yeah,
and with the older,
Yeah, but the good news is we lose a great defensive coach.
Damn.
But at the same time, we're going to get back some comp picks. I think we get another 3rd round pick in 2025. So.
Oh, and what was the guy that you guys were talking about with Damon that you wanted to rehire? That he actually got a job too.
Vic Fangio.
Vic
Fangio. Yeah. I've heard the Niners are eyeing Chris Harris. Used to be a cornerback with the Broncos.
I heard Lucas Ortiz is up for the job.
You can't afford me. I'd have to move back to the West Coast. I don't know if I can afford to live there.
So I think we all can agree. I think in this draft, guys, I think we need to concentrate on D-line, corner. I would probably do it in this order, or best available. Corner or D-line, followed by the next one, and then O-line. I think those are our biggest needs. Would everyone agree?
I want a punter. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
We got to go.
I still disagree with you on O-line. I mean, I want depth there, but
we need the depth, man.
I don't think it's a
wide receiver is not a bad idea, actually.
Nobody we're going to draft next year is going to start.
Okay.
You know, unless somebody gets hurt in training.
That's
camp,
fine, but I don't see McGlinchey as a long-term solution. That's the thing. We might give him a year or two, so I think you got to have someone training already behind him. That's what I'm saying.
Don't forget, we even had Brendel was he was coming in for Burford and even played a little left guard when Banks got hurt towards the end of the year. So, you know, we got
guys.
Hey, you guys! I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the two of you. It's been a great year. We almost did it again, and it's great to be here on the Stick Niner Empire podcast with the two of you guys. Thank you so much for all the work you put in, and we're gonna get them next year. And the winner of the signed Steve Young football is a guy named Carl Schwob. He lives in Lake Tahoe, so I'm gonna have to send him.
Congratulations, Carl.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
It's SCHWOOB. I put some trivia questions up, and Carl was the first one, and he actually emailed me, and so he gets the ball.
We've been doing this Niner Stick Empire for 2 years. Both years we made it to the NFC Championship game. I mean, that's pretty amazing
awesome.
If you think about it. Next year will be the Super Bowl. We're going to make it to the Super Bowl next year.
Look at it like this, gentlemen. Andy Reid had to suffer for so many years in the NFC Championship. What did he lose? 4 or 5 in a row before he finally actually, went to another team and won one. Hopefully, our coach does not go to another team. But if it takes Kyle 4 or 5 chances, but we're a great team every year, I'm still happy as long as we get that ring eventually. Correct?
Arango, I love your accent. Like, I'm always editing this show, and then I was 4 or 5 in a row. You always have like this very special way of saying in a row. It comes out a lot. He had 5 in a row.
Guys,
I'm Canadian or something.
It's that Long Island. Where are you, Queens or Long Island?
I lived in Queens, in Flushing.
Yeah,
5 in a row.
and got a little Irish in me, right? There's a little Irish in there. Guys, we should definitely get together this offseason for all of you listening out there and definitely have some sort of a draft preview.
Post-draft. Let's do a post-draft.
Yeah,
we'll see where we all go.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, by then Trey should be full go.
Hopefully lighting up OTAs.
Full go with the Ravens.
Lighting up OTAs, exactly.
When do OTAs start, Ortiz?
I think they do one right after the draft, but I think it's kind of like a rookie OTA, and then they do the full team thing like 3 weeks later.
Is Tom Brady officially a senior citizen? Like, does he get discounts at McDonald's?
Probably 50. He's getting close to 46.
They probably don't even card him. He's like, yeah, I'm 65.
Yeah,
maybe
he's
47.
He's allowed to live in one of those retirement communities in Florida, like Sun City.
Hey man, it's been fun. Go Niners. Let's get out of here.
Go Niners.
Get them next year.
Go Niners. Have a good night, everyone.
Good job, Carl Schwob.
Fuck the Eagles.
Mitchell with a flag down into the secondary, breaks a tackle, and Mitchell all the way for the touchdown. San Francisco rush, ball pressure comes, he's intercepted, picked off by Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw gonna take it to the house, waves goodbye for the touchdown. bounce after that 4-yard loss. It's second down. Off under pressure. He's in. Pressure coming. Garoppolo hit as he throws. A wobbler down the sideline, and it's caught. Deebo Samuel with the catch and trying to turn on the Jets. He'll take it all the way. Garoppolo underneath. Garoppolo underneath. His first NFL catch is a touchdown.
From the goal line, Cannon. And Cannon into Green Bay. And here goes the rookie around the left side, and then he goes for the touchdown.
Off the fake, lofts it. Oh, wide open, Deebo Samuel. How did he get that open? It's a foot race. And it's a 76-yard.
Escapes and throws it right into the arms of Alshire.
Right now, if you're San Francisco, you're really playing to get field goal range and spike it. Garoppolo looking deep. He's got Deebo Samuel separating, and he makes the catch inside the pocket. Plays like this, and they'd love to have him. They'll go with the screen to Samuel, though. He's got blockers and a first down and more. Foot race, Samuel, one lead. Over the middle.
Garoppolo got it across, and it's Samuel breaking away. Third goal. Stafford being chased, maybe taken down. A flag comes in. Nick Bosa got there for the sack.
A lot more in the passing game from San Fran. 2nd and 6. Here they go. Kittle is on the move. Oh, he broke the tackle. Kiss him goodbye. If he didn't step out of bounds, he's in. 48.
That just hasn't happened in this game.
3rd and 6. That pass is right on the money, and this is Ayuk. And Ayuk with running. He'll wind up and throw it. It is complete inside the 15, 10, 5. Houston defense. That pass over the middle, and Stafford is sacked.